Bhagavad Gita, scriptures, spirituality, science, so many things. It's good to have knowledge. Isn't it? Man is a rational animal. It's good to know what you're doing, why you're doing. It's good. So, what I'm talking about is science in Vedas. And to start this seminar, let me just, something happened 200 years back in India. Or to make Indians believe that Vedas are a myth. Or to destroy its education and its culture. And they achieved their mission. How? One word is, why they were doing this? Colonization. Everybody knows this. And they achieved their purpose by mistranslating Vedic scriptures. So, because Vedas are in Sanskrit, people slowly forgot Sanskrit. People didn't have so much education. And these people, they mistranslated Vedas. They projected some other picture of Vedas, which is actually not Vedic knowledge. But in recent times, many scholars and from India and all around the globe, they have done research. Now they are reading Vedas. There are many books written, especially this book. You can read this, Google it, Science Person in Origin. And there are many foundations which are doing research. And what they found was very unique, very surprising when they did research in Vedas. They thought, okay, let's fine. Those people said something. Let us do research in Vedas. And what they found was, they found that many people who were contemporary to those people, Max Muller, and all those people who were saying, okay, at that time, Vedas are a myth and it's for barbarians, they found that these people who were contemporary of those people, as Paul Dyson, Annie Besant, she was a theosophist, and they also read Vedas, they were contemporary, they were praising. And this led to confusion. Why some set of people are denigrating Vedic knowledge? Why some people are praising? So they led some research project. Okay, let's do a project and see for ourselves what is love in Vedas. And what they found was absolutely amazing. What they found was, oh, this is one theosophist. And he was contemporary of East India Company. He was their general, and he read Vedas. He found that Vedas grasped every branch of knowledge, scientific knowledge and spiritual knowledge. And then these people did research. And what they found was this, absolutely amazing, surprising. What they found by research is that all knowledge then came from Vedic Vedas. All knowledge was transferred from India. How? You know this? Anybody has heard this name? Takshila and Nalanda University? Anybody here? These were two universities around 4th century BC to 6th century AD. And these were the centers of knowledge. At that time, 4th century BC means how many years back? 2,400 years back something? When we didn't have Socrates, we didn't have Plato, we didn't have Alexander. And even before that, these universities were there. And they were centers of knowledge. And Arabs and Persians, we all know history of India. They came, Mughals, Sultans, they plundered India. They burned these universities, and these universities were burning for 4 months. You can imagine, if you burn a university, if it burns for 4 months, you can imagine how many manuscripts that university might be having. It was full of manuscripts. And they burned, and they also took manuscripts with them, copies. And if you go to Baghdad, this house of wisdom, still they have manuscripts, Sanskrit manuscripts translated into Arabic language. They brought this and they translated into Arabic language. And that's how the golden period of the Mediterranean region started. You know? So, and then what happened? There were crusades. Everybody know crusades? and Jerusalem, Christianity, and all these fights. And they took these manuscripts from Mediterranean region back to their word, translated into Greek, and their whatever Hebrew language, whatever they translated. And these crusades lasted from 1492 to 1791. And you know, when did Enlightenment and Renaissance start? What was the time? Anybody can tell? You are aware of Enlightenment period? Huh? Yeah, Enlightenment, Renaissance started around this period, isn't it? Yeah. Around this period, and it coincided with that. And this research so showed all these people, philosophers and scientists, they had access to these manuscripts which were translated from Arabic language to Hebrew language. And they were knowledge from there. Principles they got from there. And this ushered the modern age of enlightenment. And then again, scientists came, their theories, so many things. And this is surprising research. So, then these people, they thought, okay, fine, let us read Vedas for ourselves. And this research is going for 20 years back in India. And also I have some friends, scientists who are doing this research. And they read Vedas. And I'm going to give you a glimpse what is there in this Vedic knowledge. It's good to have knowledge so that we can learn things, we can help humanity, we can help people. And what they found in these Vedas have 14 books of knowledge. And these books have subjects from computers, from mathematics, chemistry, biology, science, social sciences, fine arts, skills, music, entertainment, defense, economics, all subjects locked in Sanskrit. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. I also personally had training in Vedic knowledge, and I read Vedas. Previously, I was also thinking back in India, these are some, people have this notion, Vedas have some ritualistic ceremonies offered to gods, and that's what Vedas, something Hindu-like stuff. It's not like that. Actually, the word Veda means, Ved means knowledge. This word Ved, it means translated as knowledge. So many things. So I'm going to give you a glimpse how these things are there in Vedas. Mathematics. There in Sanskrit. There is one book of knowledge, Sulva Sutra, part of Vedas. I think you might be knowing. Pythagoras, Pythagoras? Everybody knows Pythagoras? He founded Pythagoras around 570 BC. And even before, he wrote a book called Hyayan Sutra, which is coming from Vedic knowledge. In 800 BC, this is some 300 years before Pythagoras, and in his book, he had this Pythagoras theorem. It's funny, huh? It's funny. We were not informed about that, but it's like that. And this is Sanskrit of the Pythagoras theorem. This is chapter 3, 11th verse. And many people are doing research on this. John F. Price, School of Mathematics, University of New South Wales, Australia. He did a research on this section. His PhD was on section of this Vedas, which is talking about Pythagoras theorem. And it's even before Pythagoras. And we know the history of Pythagoras. He came to India. These people were traveling. They were travelers. That's how Plato, he was traveling all over the globe. They got knowledge. He came to India. Pythagoras was living on the bank of Ganges. If you take history, you come to know. And he got knowledge from there. And one more thing, Pythagoras also suggested music. He was the first person to suggest a link between music and mathematics. If you really think about it, it seems counterintuitive. Mathematics is logical, music is something emotional. You can't really think how to relate maths and music, isn't it? That's emotional, this is logic. But Pythagoras found in Vedas how to relate music with maths. And that's where, if you learn music, and if you understand the mathematical basis of music, it's very nice if you can understand the basis of music. It will help you to combine rationality with emotions. Some people are only emotional, isn't it? They don't have rationality. And then it might sometimes turn to fanaticism. Some people are only logical, no heart, logical speculations. But mathematics and music offers an opportunity to combine both rationality and emotion. And that's what Pythagoras found there in India. Okay, I'll just give a table. From, you know what this means? Prama means circumference. Sanskrit. Paridhi means diameter, radius. And Pratima means area. So Rig Veda talks about circumference, radius and pi r square. But the point is, how do you get that word pi and that value of 3 point whatever it is? You can't get it from air, no? It's something magic. Pi or iota. What's iota? You don't know? Iota, what's iota? Okay, you're a math student all of it?
It's the same as logos.
Okay.
Is it similar to logos, logic, or?
No, iota. Mathematics. Minus 1 under root of.
Something else.
And the imaginary numbers? Imaginary numbers. How do you invent imaginary numbers? You can't just sit in a field and invent it. And that's there in Vedas. Series of odd numbers are there in Vedas. You know this Rig Veda, Yajur Veda? These are Vedas. These are names of Vedas. This is all in Sanskrit. I'm not giving you Sanskrit quotes. Power of tens and zeros. The concept of zero is coming from Vedas. Concept of zero. Decimal systems. Without decimal system, you can't have value of pi. Is it? 3.14. Multiplications, fractions, infinity, concept of infinity. That's a big thing. And then value of pi. That's there in Vedas. That's why I was asking you. It's there in Sanskrit. It's there in Vedas. By the way, let me just, before I tell you this, Vedas are at least 3,000 years old. At least, according to modern archaeological understanding. And 3,000 years back, we didn't have anything. Vedas have these kind of things. Geometry. You know how many different types of geometry are there? Anybody remembers? Anyway, maths, yeah. Euclidean geometry, non-Euclidean geometry, all this stuff. It's there in this book, Surya Siddhanta. And this is the Professor A.R. Wallace. He did some research on that. He found deep. Physics. This is Rig Veda. There is a part of Rig Veda, Brahmatark. See, as you're listening, what I'm trying to convey is, I'm trying to bring an inquisitiveness in your mind so that try to know things. Don't lock yourself into one particular paradigm. That's not a good thing, no? Into one box. Try to know things. Try to research, and then we can, our rationality, our consciousness, our perception will broaden. And then you can help yourself and other people much better. That's why I'm telling you all these things. Brahmatar, this portion Brahmatar, I did some research on this personally, and this has physics. You know how many pages this has, this Brahmatar? It has just 30 pages of Sanskrit. Entire physics is there. For example, this law of conservation of energy. This law of conservation of energy, and it cannot be destroyed. This is there in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 16. How do you do that? If you read all translations of Bhagavad Gita, if you buy a Bhagavad Gita in market, you will not find this. But if you go do some research, law of conservation of energy cannot be destroyed. Who invented this law? Who found it?
Oh, did you say that is
Scientists.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you guys said that.
Law of conservation of energy. Yeah. That's a good thing. So how is there in this Gita? 5,000 years back. And that's what I told you. Knowledge, there was the transfer of knowledge from one place to another place. It always happens. Civilizations, culture, people mingle, and knowledge transfers. Law of gravitation. Newton, for 800 years ago, this is a book, Surya Siddhanta. It's available in English translation. This is a part of Rig Veda. It talks about law of gravitation. Perhaps law of gravitation didn't start before. It was much before people knew. Aryabhat, Bhaskar, they were astronomers, Vedic astronomers. They all knew what's gravitation. In Sanskrit it's called sankarshan. This word is called sankarshan, which attracts. The force which attracts. That's gravitation. There are two forces which attracts. Magnetism and gravitation. And in fact, electromagnetic plasma energy. You all science students? How many of you are science students? Okay, good. That's science. Let me ask you a question. Which force is the weakest force? How many forces do you know? Okay, good. What's that?
Weak force, strong force. Gravity.
Okay.
Nuclear.
And nuclear. Which is the weakest force? Gravity. Gravity is supposed to be the weakest force. Of course, there's a research going on. I have done research in quantum physics and genetics and Vedas especially. So that's why. Otherwise, I would have also forgotten like you. It's not. But that's why I remember these things. What is that? Astronomy. Many astronomers today, they consult Vedic. This is a part. This is an astronomical book, 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲, and many Vedic modern astronomers, they praise Vedic astronomy. They still look up to Vedic astronomy to find many to Vedic to astronomical calculations. This is one archaeologist. He was simply astounded by the accuracy of astronomical calculations done by Vedic astronomers, even without telescopes. That was very surprising. They didn't have telescopes, but the observations and the calculations were very precise. Chemistry was there. You know this? What's this? Anybody knows? Anybody has gone to India? They know. This. Everybody has heard about Taj Mahal. That you have all that. This is also one of the monument, 𝗪𝗏 Minar. It's a big monument in India. This is an iron pillar. This iron pillar is still there. It was built by Ashoka. This was around, I think 1200 years back. Yeah, 1200, 1300 years back. Maybe even before that. And it's still there. It's made of iron. And the unique thing is, it never rusts. Is there any iron which will never rust? Do you have? You know, you have to make it into steel or some alloy. But this iron never rusts. This means that they had complex metallurgical processes by which they can make such iron, which even modern day science is not able to achieve. This is from nature where we have alloys and indices. These are all names of Vedic books, chemistry books. This purification of metal, preparation of alloys, extraction, so many things. Perhaps what we are taught that previously people were barbarians, it was not like that. Modern research doesn't say that. The theory is going out. People were not uneducated, people were not barbarians, people were not living in jungles. Even yoga you are doing, yoga, it's a big science. Like we are exposed to some kind of exercises, but if you go to the theory of yoga, it's a very detailed science and very interesting. And if you read those principles, you will be amazed how deep thought you need to develop this kind of science. Yoga deals with body, mind and soul. Balance of body, mind and soul. That's yoga all about. Okay, this is modern names and this is Vedic chemistry. We had Vedic chemistry, this is modern contemporary. Biology. Who invented cell? First, Robert Hooke. He found cell, 1665. It's there in Vedas, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, 3000 years back. We had description of cell, even without microscope. Surprising, isn't it? How can you define a cell without microscope? This is Vedic knowledge. We had outer cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm. All these Sanskrit words are there in this book, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. I've done some research. Simply amazing. But I was not at least informed about all this. You can see that? You can see that?
Who did you say brought like this knowledge to light? Like who did you say did that? When was it? When were the texts like translated so that now we know that it was there?
Oh, when it was translated in English?
Yes. When was that?
Oh, now scholars are doing research. I showed you those foundations. Previously slide. Scientists and they're doing research, they're translating into English. Now they're finding that all these knowledge is stored in Vedic scriptures. Now, recently they're translating into English. Previously, the traditional scholars in Sanskrit, they knew for 2000 years back, 2000 years. If you go to India, if you go to Karnataka, if you go to Bengal, but problem was those Sanskrit scholars didn't know English. So they were like, they couldn't convey this knowledge to the world. But modern people like us, now we are studying both systems. And now we are finding, we're translating and we're finding. It's happening now. I showed you that book, Is Science Western in Origin? I'll give you again. Go and read that book. It's a very interesting book. Medicine, I am a doctor myself. And I did some research in medicine. This is a book of medicine and Charak Samhita. This is a book of surgery. So you might have heard, previously, 300 years back, people used to do surgery, 10 people used to hold that man, like, isn't it? And they were so cruel and no anesthesia and they're just like doing some kind of things and he's shouting and... But it wasn't like that. Because this book mentions the anesthesia, how to put anesthesia, mentions the techniques of performing anesthesia. 𝗙cie 𝗹𝗹𝗀𝗀, this surgical book, even today we apply techniques from 𝗙cie 𝗹𝗹𝗀𝗀. Even today. For example, here, plastic surgery of nose, rhinoplasty, same technique is used today for surgery. Appendix operation, same technique is used. Even all these instruments, these are modern surgical instruments, and these are some Vedic instruments. The same. Even today, modern surgeons, when they have to make instruments new, they consult the 𝗙cie 𝗹𝗹𝗀𝗀. You see, it's almost the same. This thing, it's a pipette. It's almost the same here. This is a similar type. Modern surgical instruments, we have 120 instruments. Vedic instruments, we have around 290. Still, we do not know many instruments. Still, research is going on. We can benefit a lot if this research continues. Science can advance much more if we access that knowledge, which is taught in Vedas. Oh, you know what's allopathy? Modern system. Modern medicine is called allopathy. Now, homeopathy, naturopathy, alternative medicines, Reiki, and all those are coming from Vedic knowledge. Oh, medicine, surgery, and pediatrics, psychiatry, OBG, these were all there in Vedas. This is a branch of Vedas. You can see it's visible. Philosophy. This is good. You have heard this name Upanishads? Have you heard? The Upanishads are part of Vedas. They're talking about deep philosophy. And this is what is modern contemporary philosophy. This is Vedic. All things above mentioned in Vedas. You don't have to really understand this. What I'm showing you is that everything is there in Vedic knowledge, which is now come to the West. And now we are reading the same things, but it crossed there. Psychology. You know this person who is he?
Sigmund Freud.
Okay. Father of?
Psychology. Okay, I know. Okay, cocaine. No.
Huh?
No, wait. No, it's more than cocaine.
No,
with the Oedipus theory,
No, that's okay.
It's modern psychology.
Yeah, psychoanalysis. Yeah. In super. So he gave the concept for the first time. He gave the concept of subconscious mind. You are aware of this psychoanalysis? What is subconscious? It was a big thing in the field of psychoanalysis. We access only 5% of our conscious brain. You know this, no?
Yeah, iceberg theory.
Yeah. So modern average person he accesses maybe 0.22% maximum. Maximum. Einstein used to. It is that Einstein accessed some 5%. What about 95%? We can't access. We can't access that. At least according to some sources. It's subconscious mind and influences. And that's the basis of hypnotism and dream analysis, so many things. But this the concept of subconscious was mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad long ago. This is a part of Vedas, Yajurveda, and this is talking about subconscious mind. It's a detailed science, I'm not going to do it. But this kosha, this word means subconscious. This means subconscious. And Freud talked about subconscious mind, but Vedas are talking about 5 types of subconscious mind. That's quite amazing. Upanishads, if you read. I think you will have Upanishads in your library, copy. Definitely you will have. Just go and have a look. Just go and have a look. Just for the sake of fun, just have a look. And you like it, I'm sure. Psychology. This, Gita, these words from Gita, Sanskrit. In one verse, we have all diseases, almost all diseases of psychology. Paranoia, depression, bipolar disease, mania, delusion. One word of Sanskrit has so much information back there. I don't know the details how they got it. Oh, have you read this dictionary? All of you? How many pages it has? Not concise, just read concise. Maybe big one. How many pages? 5. Anyway, approximately. Many? It's many. It's many. Okay, you can say many is answered. It's just this big. Around 3,000. 2,500. They're very thin, Still it's so big. There is modern dictionary. And we have Vedic dictionary. This. Niraktu. This, how many pages it has? 32 pages. That's it. That's it. This is the beauty of Vedic knowledge. Compressed, precise, and in those 32 pages we have dictionary. And in English, if you want to see synonym, you have a different dictionary, isn't it? What's that name? Thesaurus. And we have a separate dictionary for thesaurus. And then if you want to look about metaphors and idioms, there's a separate dictionary. But in 32 pages, we have meaning, we have synonyms, we have metaphors, only in 32 pages. This is the beauty of Vedic language and Sanskrit. That is why many people are interested in Sanskrit today. Many people are going to at least Germany. Many people want to go to India and learn Sanskrit. Why? Because they know all these things. They are aware of these things. They are aware. This is one copy. You can just, it's one page of that. It might look some French. This Sanskrit. It's not I have studied Sanskrit for the last 20 years. And I like Sanskrit. It's a beautiful language. Anyway, all languages are beautiful, but Sanskrit is, you can, in English if you want to convey a feeling,